Chapter 1206, Setting Up Genesis Auction House. Tang Shou himself had nothing to do and naturally bit the bullet directly after receiving Jin Xinkui's call, causing the latter to feel at a loss with his carefree attitude. After picking a good place to meet, Tang Shou drove his car quickly and arrived at a bar near Nanjing Road a short while after. It was still in the afternoon and the bar hadn't yet opened for business. Nobody even greeted him when he arrived, so he glanced inside and saw Jin Xinkui sitting in the corner. "Well, something happened that makes you look rather leisurely and refined today, brother Jin?" Tang Shou walked over smilingly and asked after taking a seat across the man. "Well, the first stage of our project has been finalized and now we're entering the second stage." Jin Xinkui replied with a smile. "Additionally, the opening sales will be held 2 weeks later and I hope you can attend it to spice the grand opening. That is, of course, if you got spare time." "What's the fixed date, though?" asked Tang Shou calmly. "December 1st, answered Jin Xinkui. Tang Shou frowned and asked, "Are the properties we're planning to build not selling?"
Nah.
"It's the opposite." Jin Xinkui waved and said, "Since the architectural design plan plus the residential design and other amenities have been exposed, it has won praises and favor of many people. So far, at least hundreds of people wanting to buy our real estate have contacted me in advance, hoping that I can save them a good house with good floor and location. If that's the case, then my participation to spice things up isn't needed, I think." Tang Shou said with a smile, "Besides, I must attend the auction on December 1st, so I won't have time to attend the opening sales event." Jin Xinkui looked curious and asked, "I heard this Genesis auction of the century was jointly held by the Grand Fortune Jewelry and Magnificent Tang Corporation. Is this true?" "Yes." Tang Shou nodded. Jin Xinkui looked excited and grinningly said, "Brother Tang, I have received the formal reply that I'm qualified to attend this Genesis auction of the century, but my position must be very far, though it's a given since I'm not even in the list of the world's richest people, to begin with. Anyhow, can you open a back door for me and give me a good position?" Tang Shou couldn't help laughing and said, "I've already reserved 10 places in advance, you see. You can expect to not be the only one by then since brother Gu Changmin and Zhang Yuming will also get good places later." "No worries." Jin Xinkui raised a thumbs up and praised. "Thoughtful and magnanimous. A toast for you, brother Tang." Tang Shou slightly smiled in response. Just as he downed his wine cup, his cell phone rang. He took it out and, after seeing the caller on the screen, immediately answered it and smilingly said, "Hello, elderly. It's kinda a rare occasion for you to take the initiative to call me. Is there anything I can help you with?" "Tang Shou, is your Magnificent Tang Corporation involved in this Genesis auction?" Li Jiren's voice came from the mobile phone. "That's correct. We're the ones setting it up." Tang Shou smilingly replied. Li Jiren's happy voice then replied aloud, "Can I ask you in advance about the good articles auctioned in the auction? Is there anything useful for me?" The moment Tang Shou heard this question, he immediately knew what Li Jiren had in mind. He was probably thinking about some pills, or rather, elixirs. After contemplating for a moment, Tang Shou said, "There is. But the quantity is few and they are quite expensive." Li Jiren's ecstatic voice conveyed again, "Can you reserve a place for me, Tang Shou? I'll definitely attend the auction on December 1st. You can directly contact Hao Lei, elderly. Just order someone to transfer 1 million yuan to the Genesis auction house for the admission fee. I'll tell her to reserve a place for you," said Tang Shou. Li Jiren didn't seem to care a bit when he heard that the admission fee was 1 million yuan and happily replied, "I'll assign someone to do it immediately." "All right, see you later on December 1st, Tang Shou." "All right." Tang Shou then hung up and then dialed Hao Lei's number in front of Jin Xinkui. After Hao Lei picked up his call, he spoke in a deep voice, immediately announced the public account of Genesis Auction House, saying that the guests who want to attend the auction on December 1st must transfer 1 million yuan for the admission fee. We've set the threshold, so we must set up this event to the highest level possible. Send the notification to all channels immediately to announce the news. Understood. Hao Lei replied curtly. One last thing. I'll arrange the final articles of the auction myself, said Tang Xiu again. I'll go to the Genesis auction house in the evening and tell you about the goods by then. After that, he directly hung up and looked at Jin Xingkui, saying, Your wine is worth 1 million yuan for the admission fee. But don't spread it out. I want to get some more pocket money from the tickets, got it? After hearing this, Jin Xingkui immediately felt proud for obtaining the honor. He raised his glass again and said, No worries about that. Jin Xingkui's mouth will be shut tightly on that one, brother Tang. Anyhow, who's this elderly who just called you? You even reserved him a place with just a phone call. He's Li Jiren from Hong Kong, answered Tang Xiu. Jin Xingkui's expression slightly changed and admiration was visible in his eyes. The first time he met Tang Xiu, it never crossed his mind that Tang Xiu would become this powerful. Not only did he have a very high status, but he also possessed outstanding abilities now. His extensive network even made him feel ashamed. Li Jiren was once the richest business tycoon in China and definitely a living legend in the minds of many Chinese people. Yet Tang Xiu was able to make such extraordinary friendship with him. It made Jin Xingkui feel like he had lived like a dog for decades. Tang Xiu and Jin Xingkui had another round of wine savoring again until the evening. Jin Xingkui himself wanted Tang Xiu to stay for a while more, but the occasion was purely for passing the time for Tang Xiu. As dusk came, Tang Xiu rejected Jin Xingkui's other plans and drove to the Genesis auction house. Due to Tang Xiu's order to set up the newly established auction house as classy, upscale and large enough, Hao Lei spent quite the amount of funds to buy a 4-story building covering an area of nearly 10,000 square meters, which she deducted from the several billions of yuan she received from Tang Xiu. The majestic characters that gave off the vibe of flying dragons and dancing phoenixes style on the 10-meter-long and 4-meter-wide dazzling golden plaque were written by Tang Xiu himself. It was then sent to Mu Weining's employee who was best at making plaques. Just the price to manufacture this plaque alone cost hundreds of thousands of yuan. Hello, we have not yet opened for business here. May I ask the purpose of your visit, sir? Just as Tang Xiu arrived at the entrance of the Genesis auction house, he was stopped by 4 security guards in black suits. Their mannerism was very polite on the surface, but their eyes were full of vigilance, seemingly ready to strike Tang Xiu at any time if there was any sign that he would commit something bad. I'm looking for Hao Lei. This wasn't the first occasion Tang Xiu was stopped by security guards outside his company's door, so he was used to it and replied to the guards with a smile. The leader of these security guards asked, Do you have an appointment with Chief Hao in advance, sir? If you don't, we'll also help you convey your message to her. She'll naturally meet you if she has time. I'm Tang Xiu, said Tang Xiu smilingly. Tang Xiu? The 4 security guards frowned at the same time. But after some 4+ seconds, the security guard leader's expression suddenly changed. He quickly grabbed his cell phone to access the internet and found some information regarding Tang Xiu. After he did some contrasting, his expression turned reverential and fearful as he bowed and spoke, We didn't know it was you, boss. I'm really sorry for our attitude just now. That was a very responsible attitude, you know. Tang Xiu patted his shoulder and chuckled. Your performance is much to my satisfaction, so I'll tell Hao Lei to raise your salary by 30%. All right, keep tending to your duties. I'm going upstairs first. Yes. Thank you, boss. The security guard leader was excited. After watching Tang Xiu leave, he powerfully raised his fist upward, vigorously punched the air in high spirit and excitedly exclaimed, Damn. I finally get to see the real one. It's the big boss and we have been praised by him as well. That was really quite an honor. The other 3 security guards also excitedly responded to one another. They then passed the message through the intercom about Tang Xiu's arrival as well as conveying Tang Xiu's promise to their comrades. Suddenly, about 2/3 of the people, all of whom were security guards, cheered inside the Genesis auction house. On the 3rd floor of the Genesis auction house, Hao Lei quickly read the documents she was holding, while the 3 subordinates in front of her held some other documents, waiting for her to sign them. The situation was so hectic and busy that Hao Lei had never been as busy as she was right now. Even the situation when she was acting as the general manager of Grand Fortune Jewelry paled in comparison. She didn't even have enough time to have a bite save for drinking some glasses of water and some cups of coffee since morning. Knock, knock. A knocking sound came from the door and Tang Xiu waltzed in from the outside. He watched the few people inside with a smile and said, "Are you busy?" Hao Lei got up from the boss chair and gave 2 orders to the 3 subordinates. After they grabbed the documents and left, she then spoke with a teary face, "Can you find someone to come and help me here, boss? You really got me too occupied here. I'm so busy that I can't even feel my feet touching the floor. And I'm so starving now that my stomach went flat, you know." Tang Xiu was surprised. "You haven't had dinner yet?" "What dinner? I didn't even have breakfast and lunch." Hao Lei forced a bitter smile. Tang Xiu took out his mobile phone and dialed the manager of Shanghai's Everlasting Feast Hall to order a table worth of sumptuous dishes, and sent them to the Genesis auction house. Afterward, he turned to Hao Lei and asked, "Anyways, anyone you prefer to help you here?" "Qi Nan," said Hao Lei smilingly. Tang Xiu couldn't help but burst into laughter. "You really can pick up quite the person, huh? No problem. I'll call her later to help you here." But don't tell her it was my idea, sect master," said Hao Lei hurriedly. "I understand. No worries about that." Tang Xiu chuckled. "Anyhow, we've received calls from thousands of rich people, from domestic and overseas, after the publicity, sect master." Hao Lei then said they expressed their intentions to attend the auction, but many of them are asking if we can announce some of the auction items in advance. I also think the same. After all, it will be quite difficult to achieve the best results without attracting them with the auctioned items, although we've gone all out in marketing this event. Chapter 1207, Stunt Antics. A thoughtful look flashed in Tang Xiu's eyes. He did tell Hao Lei before that he would pull out such a stunt, but he then felt that 2 types of pills would be lackluster. After all, this was an unprecedented auction where they must face the super rich from all over the world, and the number of guests was likely to exceed 1,000 given the current situation. Further, he also obtained a lot of treasures from the Joyous Palace, some of which were quite priceless but had no value in many people's eyes. The distribution of wealth in the world today could be said to be practically controlled by those from cultivation forces, which meant he must have something that could attract these super-rich people. What do cultivators need? One thing for sure was medicinal pills aside from array discs, talismans, magic weapons, and some others. Once he put out these types of objects, it was very likely the forces around the world would flock over to obtain them, which in turn would send the money literally flying into his pocket at that time. After giving it a thought for a long while, Tang Xiu tilted up his head to look at Hao Lei and seriously said, "How much money do you think we can earn if all the goods are auctioned?" "I've talked about this subject with 4 treasure appraisers previously and it's estimated that we should earn about 200 billion yuan, answered Hao Lei. Tang Xiu took a deep breath and shook his head. 200 billion yuan seems to be a huge number, but it's nothing to speak of considering the consumption of the Tang sect's disciples. If my estimation is correct, even 2 trillion yuan won't be enough for them to break through the spirit formation stage in 2 decades. 2 trillion. Hao Lei slightly shuddered. Even if she didn't care about money, she was still taken aback by this figure. Tang Xiu forced a smile and said, your current cultivation level is still low, so you have no idea how much resources are required for the later stages of cultivation. However, I'll make some important decisions later which should reduce the spending, but spending 2 trillion yuan is a definite number needed for this purpose. The magnificent Tang Corp is a money-making machine and it will likely be able to earn a massive amount of wealth. It should be easy to earn hundreds of billions or a few trillion in the future. And we should earn at least over 1 trillion yuan from this auction. Gasp. Hao Lei didn't expect that Tang Xiu had such a big appetite. But the number of articles they currently had for the auction was not enough. The total value of the treasures obtained from the Joyous Palace and the Jing camp only amounted up to 200 billion yuan. Tang Xiu got up and slowly said, Hao Lei, release an announcement to the public that the Genesis auction house will have elixirs beneficial to practitioners, array discs, various powerful talismans, magic weapons, and even cultivation art manuals in this auction. Hao Lei was shocked and asked incredulously, Sect Master, are you sure you want to sell them? Even manual for cultivation techniques? That's right. I'll also sell cultivation manuals. Tang Xiu solemnly said, but this cultivation technique can only make those who practice it reach the foundation establishment stage, and mainly emphasizes physical refinement. The physical quality of human beings on Earth is getting worse nowadays, so if I sell this cultivation art now and once it spreads out later, the chance is the overall physical fitness of human beings on Earth and the standard level of martial arts will be greatly improved in the future. Do you want all human beings to be strong? By chance asked Hao Lei again.
Yeah.
Earth is just a tiny existence in the vast universe and can only be called as a speck of dust. Tang Xiu nodded. Let alone mentioning some higher planes, the number of galaxies in our cosmic space alone is countless, many of which house incredibly powerful technological advanced races, magical worlds, and even some cultivation worlds. If Earth is too weak, in case these more powerful extraterrestrials from other galaxies come here one day, it would be very likely that it would be the end of humanity on Earth. Tang Xiu walked towards the window and watched the scenery outside surrounded by darkness along with all walks of life there. Then, he went on, Earth may be minuscule, but it is forever our roots. We'll leave this place to struggle in a much vaster stage in the future and we won't have the luxury to even care about anything that happens here when that time comes. I don't want to see humanity massacred and go extinct when we set foot on this planet again one day, nor do I wish to face the reality of being unable to find this planet and this part of galaxy at that time. At this moment, he didn't speak only to Hao Lei but also to himself. Even at this moment, a huge idea crossed his mind and he knew that he would be extremely busy should he implement it one day. Late at night. As Tang Xiu went home to his house in Blue Star Villa complex, he saw Mu Weining, Ouyang Lulu, and Andy sitting on the sofa in the living room hall. But one thing he never dreamed of was that there were still other 2 women besides these 3. They were Zhang Xinye and Zhang Xinyue, whom he hadn't met for a long time. You all. Tang Xiu's mouth opened, but his head was full of a real urge to just turn around and run away. Andy was the first to jump up from the sofa and strode to Tang Xiu's front, smilingly saying, You're finally back, boss. I'm afraid they were going to fight if you didn't come back. Tang Xiu let out a dry chuckle in response. This was a scene he never wanted to see nor face. Despite so, he still let Andy pull him and walked to the sofa where Andy had just sat. At this moment of restlessness, 5 pairs of beautiful eyes were fully concentrated on Tang Xiu alone. Despite how fearless he always was, Tang Xiu would rather fight countless gods and demons than to face this kind of scene. He coughed twice, loosened his arms and said, Hey, this is karma I cast upon myself for having love affairs. You can hit me, curse at me, or anything. I'll accept that. If you can't stand it and want to leave me, I'll also respect your decision. Will you be sad if I leave you? Asked Mu Weining softly. Tang Xiu remained silent for a few seconds before he slowly replied, It would be difficult to bear and would break my heart. But if it's your choice, I'll respect it. Mu Weining got up as she yawned and said, I wasted all afternoon here and haven't had dinner yet. You guys can keep chatting. I'm going upstairs to sleep. After that, she ignored a pair of eyes staring at her and headed straight to the stairs and quickly disappeared. Tang Xiu retracted his gaze and was about to speak when Ouyang Lulu got up, stretched her body and walked straight to him. She gently held Tang Xiu's cheek and kissed his forehead, then went back to pick her bag. Afterward, she raised the hand on the gripper and chuckled. Well, I'm heading to Paradise Manor first. I'm free tomorrow, so be sure to remember to see me. But I'm going to Nine Dragons Island tomorrow, said Tang Xiu hurriedly. Ouyang Lulu's eyes shone. Then I'm going with you. I got nothing to do recently, anyways. But you'll be bored. I got very important things to do and won't have time to keep you company, said Tang Xiu. Besides, I will only stay for 10 days there since I need to return to Shanghai to prepare for Genesis's auction. After hearing it, Ouyang Lulu immediately shook her head. Forget it, then. I guess I'll just stay in Paradise Manor and make money. My Paradise Manor's business has been very good recently, especially the significant increase in the number of foreign tourists. That's right, be sure to reserve a place for me in the auction. All right. Tang Xiu felt a bit relieved and nodded. Ouyang Lulu didn't say anything more. She picked up her bag and headed straight to the outside. She didn't even spare a glance at Zhang Xinya and Zhang Xinyua. Andy looked at the Zhang sisters and interjected with hesitation. Boss, I'll take the guest room and sleep there. The door won't be locked. Having said that, she also ran straight towards the stairs. With his head struck by a headache, Tang Xiu turned to Zhang Xinya and Zhang Xinya, both looking gloomy with complicated expressions. Tang Xiu, I want to go to Nine Dragons Island, said Zhang Xinya all of a sudden. Tang Xiu nodded right away and said, that won't be a problem. You can come with me tomorrow. I want to go there too, said Zhang Xinyue. Tang Xiu's mouth opened and hesitantly said, but you. Zhang Xinya got up and pulled her younger sister, saying, we are both all right. All right, we'll be waiting for you at the airport tomorrow, then. Just like that, the two sisters left. Tang Xiu glanced around at the now empty hall with a forced smile on his handsome face. The love affairs and relationship between men and women were always something that gave him a headache. He now realized how woeful were those lords and officials in ancient times. They, too, had 3 wives and 4 concubines in their backyards. Their situations shouldn't be very peaceful and tranquil either, should it? A long time passed by. Tang Xiu smoked and burnt several cigarettes one after another before he got up and went to the 2nd floor. He pushed the bedroom's door and walked in and then saw Mu Weining in pajamas sitting on the bedside, reading a book quietly. After hesitating for a while, he said, wait for a while here, I'll see if there's anything to eat. Tang Xiu himself was familiar with cooking and he spent half an hour to make 2 bowls of noodles. He delivered 1 bowl to Andy's room and quickly returned to the kitchen after he handed it to her. Then, he took the remaining bowl of noodles to the 2nd floor bedroom and spoke, have a bite. Mu Weining stroked the hair in front of her forehead and took the bowl and chopsticks. After having some, she nodded and smiled. It tastes good. Tang Xiu forced a wry smile and said, about today's matter, it's all right. Mu Weining shook her head and interrupted him. I have long known that there would be such a day. But it's enough for me as long as you care about me and it's all your business no matter how many women you have. I can understand that outstanding men are just like a natural magnet that attracts women to them. I can tell that each and every one of them is very outstanding too. Tang Xiu himself had stomached what he would say back when he was cooking. But watching Mu Weining start eating with such a tranquil expression made him sigh inwardly. Then, he said, anyways, you can put the dishes on the bedside table after eating. I'm having a shower first. That night, Mu Weining, who was always gentle and refined, became extremely wild and pestered Tang Xiu with her demands for several hours before strength finally left her body. Drenched with sweat, she hugged Tang Xiu when he carried her and fell into a deep sleep before she even took a shower. Chapter 1208, Backbreaking Work. The next day, Tang Xiu hurried to the airport with Tang'an and realized something on the way there after seeing her sit on the front seat, and remained silent for a long time, causing him to feel secretly annoyed inwardly. Back in Star City, he set up an array around his house, but he forgot to arrange one in the Blue Star Villa complex. Given how crazy the fight between him and Mu Weining last night was, it was likely she could see it clearly, wasn't it? I really must speed up my cultivation as fast as possible, so my sense of the surrounding space can get much keener and wider. As long as Tang'an follows me, I can find her easily even if she hides in the void. After reminding himself about this issue, Tang Xiu turned to look outside through the window. After they arrived at the airport, he easily found Zhang Xinya and Zhang Xinyue, though he didn't know how long they had waited for him. The two females were donning similar attire, both wearing peaked caps, large sunglasses, and masks, along with a similar large suitcase next to each. Have you been waiting for a long time? Tang Xiu greeted them and asked.
Nah.
We just arrived here too, answered Zhang Xinya. By the way, are we flying directly to Saipan?
Yeah.
Tang Xiu nodded. We'll fly directly to Saipan. We have choppers standing by there and we'll board them to Nine Dragons Island. By the way, I haven't asked your reason for going there, though. Are you going there for vacation, or to stay there permanently? I'm staying there permanently, Zhang Xinya said. Eh? Don't you still have jobs here? Tang Xiu asked in wonder. What about you, Xinyue? Don't you have your beauty shop to run? I've resigned and already made an announcement that I'll leave the entertainment industry and won't make any public appearances in the future anymore, answered Zhang Xinya. As for Xinyue, she already sold her shop 2 weeks ago, so we have nothing to do for the time being. Tang Xiu thought about something and then asked, do you want to keep living there, or are you leaving with me in the future too? Huh? Leaving? Where to? Asked Zhang Xinyue. Tang Su turned to Zhang Xinya and asked, you didn't tell her? No, Zhang Xinya shook her head. Tang Xiu's lips moved and transmitted his voice straight to Zhang Xinyue's ear. I'm a cultivator. I'm sure you know what this means. The ultimate goal of any cultivator is to reach a higher cultivation stage and ultimately ascend to become an immortal. If there's no accident, I'll ascend to the immortal world in a few decades, and I'll also take a lot of my subordinates with me. I may not return to Earth for thousands of years. Zhang Xinyue shuddered as incredulity filled her eyes. It was something that never crossed her mind. Even in her wildest dream, she never thought that aside from Earth, the immortal world in the legend turned out to actually exist. Everyone knew that this place was only in Xianxia stories. It was night when the four of them arrived in Nine Dragons Island and Zhang Xinyue was still unable to fully digest everything Tang Xiu had said. After Mu Qingping arranged everything for Zhang Xinya and Zhang Xinyue to stay on the island, she went to Tang Xiu's room and asked, can you teach me cultivation techniques too? I want to become a powerful cultivator. That ability to fly above the clouds and summon the forces of nature is so amazing and I love it. Tang Xiu couldn't help laughing and then explained, I must tell you that treading on the cultivation path is very dangerous. You must endure pains that most average people won't be able to bear, and the dangers you'll face are also unimaginable. You may have to face other people in the future if you choose to be a cultivator and even face the battle between immortals at that time. Will you protect me at that time? Asked Zhang Xinyue. Tang Xiu nodded. I'll certainly protect you. Unless I'm killed. Zhang Xinyue beamed with a smile and walked straight to Tang Xiu. She wrapped her arms around his neck and said, then I won't be afraid since you're going to protect me. You're a cultivator and so is my older sister. Hence, I'm going to wherever you go in the future as well. That reminds me, where's your older sister now? Asked Tang Xiu. She said she's tired and is already sleeping in her room, answered Zhang Xinyue. Tang Xiu pondered for a while and then nodded. All right, then. Stay in my room for tonight and I'll teach you a cultivation technique and what the cultivation path really is. But I can't guarantee what level you can reach in the future. What I can tell you now is that you must reach the spirit formation stage in a few decades if you want to leave for the immortal world with me. What is this spirit formation stage, though? Zhang Xingya curiously asked, will I become a powerful cultivator who can fly if I reach this spirit formation stage? You will learn about cultivation levels from some others in the future. Tang Xiu said, as for spirit formation stage cultivators, they definitely can fly and are very powerful. Even I myself may not be your match if your cultivation is at the spirit formation stage now. All right. I'll begin to practice. I must become a cultivator. Zhang Xinyue clenched her fists excitedly. 4 hours were then spent to teach Zhang Xinyue all the acupuncture points and meridian roots of the human body. Tang Xiu taught her a set of very powerful cultivation techniques in the immortal world, and he didn't even hesitate to condense a drop of his blood essence to integrate it into her body and made her heart absorb it. It was already late in the night when Tang Xiu went to the alchemy room in Nine Dragons Island. Right as he was about to enter the main hall, he felt heat waves from the interior. After he entered, he found that the temperature inside was at least 20 degrees higher than the outside, which could steam ordinary people in no time. Ji Qimei. The alchemy room was quite spacious with the size of about several hundred square meters. Shelves were arranged against the wall and filled with various jade bottles and containers along with some medicinal materials, minerals, and bones of fierce beasts suitable for storage at high temperatures. A respectful expression painted Ji Qimei's face after she found that Tang Xiu was here. She immediately greeted and saluted. When did you arrive, Lord? I must concoct some pills for use in the not-so-distant future, which I've estimated will take about 4 days. But the furnace still has an elixir I've been concocting and it will take a few days for the refining to be successful, Lord. Ji Qimei hesitated before she continued, we only have 2 pill furnaces in this vault, but the quality of the other one is rather average and usually used by pill apprentices. Would you like me to discard the pills in this furnace? Or? Tang Xiu chuckled and replied, I have my own furnace. Having said that, he took out the demon god soul devourer cauldron from his interspatial ring and placed it in the spacious alchemy room. Shortly after, he quickly arranged several arrays under the cauldron. Only then did he turn to Ji Qimei and ask, by the way, what do you think about my stove? It's great, isn't it? Ji Qimei herself had very keen sight and her heart pounded hard after seeing the demon god soul devourer cauldron. She circled around the cauldron a few times and observed it carefully before praising. This stove you obtained is comparable to the top immortal devices, my lord. But my sense is telling me that this furnace isn't just suitable for concocting pills but also can be used by artificers to manufacture weapons and tools. Am I correct, my lord? You have good eyes, as always. Tang Xiu smilingly said, this divine furnace can indeed be used for alchemy and tools manufacturing. Qimei, your current strength is perhaps stronger than me, but I think you're still a bit behind me in regards to manufacturing devices and alchemy. Stay here for 10 days and I'll teach you some secrets of alchemy and refinement. You must observe and learn well since you may become the most important subordinate under me as an expert alchemist and artificer, who can manufacture immortal elixirs and devices. Ji Qimei's eyes shone and she gratefully replied, this subordinate will spare no effort to study so that I can live up to Lord's expectation in the future. 10 days may seem short and Tang Xiu stayed in the alchemy room all the time. He concocted a massive number of pills with various effects in the first 4 days. These pills were also very beneficial to golden core cultivators even though the efficacy was lacking to those at the nascent soul stage. From the 5th to the 8th day, Tang Xiu continuously manufactured magic devices, These tools and weapons were not refined using immortal force, hence why all of them didn't reach the standard quality level in the immortal world, although they could still be ranked as top magic tools. Any of these tools could easily garner countless people's envy and desire, and even very likely to set off a bloody storm. The last 2 days were spent to refine a full set of 10 array discs, all of which were then given to Gu Xiaoxue, while he himself manufactured 2 sets of low-grade array discs. He planned the later to be auctioned at the Genesis auction. Further, he also spent the last 2 days to manufacture a total of 100 amulets and talismans, all of which were also handed over to Gu Xiaoxue. He then made another 100 amulets with much less might for the Genesis auction. Huff. Just as Tang Xiu came out of the alchemy room, he saw Gu Yan standing outside, seemingly having been waiting for him. A beaming smile then appeared on her soul-captivating beautiful face. Master. Gu Yan didn't seem to be bothered by Tang Xiu's naked upper body or the sweat slipping from his streamlined muscles. She quickly came to Tang Xiu's side and wrapped her arm around Tang Xiu's. Why did you come out of the exquisite pagoda? Tang Xiu chuckled and said, I already plan to go there to visit you after I'm done with the chore these 10 days, you know. Well, I've already suppressed all my injuries and I'm getting better every day. I should be fully healed in about a few years. Gu Yan lightly smiled and said, by the way, I just refined 2 pills for you since I got nothing to do for the last 2 days, Master. It should be beneficial for you. I don't think any immortal-type pills can have much effect on me now unless I can get my hands on some immortal demon pills. Tang Xiu shook his head and smilingly said, it's just unfortunate that only those archdemons in the demon realm possess this type of pill. Gu Yan opened her palm and 2 pills, one black and one white, suddenly appeared on it. A dark stream of light kept flashing from the black pill, whereas the white one seemed to emit rippling waves. Immortal demon pill? Tang Xiu's pupils contracted as incredulity filled his eyes. Never had it crossed his mind that Gu Yan was able to concoct the immortal demon pill and obtained the materials to concoct it. It must be noted that the medicinal herbs and ingredients needed to concoct it were extremely rare. This is not the genuine immortal demon pill, Master. The effect should be nearly similar, but the efficacy and energy contained in it are 10 times worse than the genuine ones. Chapter 1209, The Sword Dance in the Ocean. Tang Xiu gently took the immortal demon pill and looked at Gu Yan with a slightly regretful face. He knew how difficult it was to concoct this pill since the most primer ingredient to enhance the efficacy of this medicine was the blood essence from the heart of its maker. You are not to do anything that benefits others but is harmful to yourself again in the future. After taking the pill, Tang Xiu gently hugged Gu Yan and spoke solemnly. A glint of happiness flashed in Gu Yan's eyes. Although she promised in a soft voice, she didn't take the admonishment to heart. She was willing to go to any lengths even though it would greatly harm herself as long as it could help Tang Xiu. Just like what she did in the past. On the winding mountain pathway, Tang Xiu and Gu Yan walked side by side and headed towards the seaside where the exquisite pagoda was located, both unfazed by the cold wind blowing around them. Yen. The immortal demon pill is an elixir usually taken by top demons in the demon realm who cultivate physical refinement. The medicinal ingredients needed to concoct it are very precious. Even when I stayed in the immortal world for millenniums and infiltrated the demon realm many times, it still cost me great efforts to get the medicinal herbs to concoct this pill. How did you get them? Asked Tang Xiu. I obtained them from the Immortal Lyceum. Gu Yan smiled and answered lightly. The Immortal Lyceum? Tang Xiu's expression changed slightly and a complex look appeared in his eyes. Back when he was a supreme in the immortal world and possessed fearsome power, he could face countless immortal and demons unfazed. Yet there was one person he always entertained remorseful feeling towards. That person was exactly the master of this Immortal Lyceum. An extraordinary and peerlessly talented perfected golden immortal, apotheosis immortal Bella Fern Regalia. Back in the past, he devoted his whole love only for Shui Qingcheng, being obstinate that it was enough for him to have one woman since he had already found the true love of his life. It was also this reason that made him remain indifferent towards her despite her becoming a laughingstock in the immortal world due to her efforts of pursuing him for thousands of years. His rejection was, however, ineffective and he could only keep avoiding her. Tang Xiu took a deep breath and asked, "Is she okay?" Gu Yan knew who he was asking about. There was a bit of admiration in her eyes as she nodded and answered, "She was great then, at least on the surface. After you went through that accident, she spent hundreds of years to break into your immortal sphere where you'd been in seclusion and brought all the treasures you'd collected in your treasure vault for 10,000 years. She brought it to the Immortal Lyceum and created an area there that copied the scenery of your seclusion abode. I received her hospitality when I first visit her Immortal Lyceum, and spent a century there to read the classics collection you spent 10,000 years collecting." "But..." Tang Xiu furrowed his brows and asked, "But what?" Gu Yan forced a smile and went on, "But I kept having a feeling that she seemed to be planning a huge move. I have no idea what exactly it was, but she tried to get me to work with her. Unfortunately, I was in a hurry to find you then, so I declined." Tang Xiu frowned and then shook his head. "No. She's not the subtle and deep kind of person. Something like coming up with any big plan is not like her given her fiery temper. All right, let's drop talking about her. It feels like ages ago since the last time I practiced swordplay. Do you still remember the sword dance I taught you?" Gu Yan's eyes lit up and she smilingly nodded.
Yeah.
"I still remember it. Accompany me to practice some swordplay," said Tang Xiu. "I'll leave 9 Dragons Island tomorrow for Shanghai to attend the auction." Gu Yan curtly complied and then asked curiously, "Master, I heard from Xiao Xue that you're going to hold an unprecedented auction in Shanghai. Is it true?"
Yeah.
"The number of cultivators our Tang sect grooms will only keep increasing and it's very likely that we'll need a colossal number of cultivation resources for their consumption annually. The plan I made this time is to secure massive funds in a short time before I fully immerse myself in cultivation." "Are you going to cultivate in the exquisite pagoda too at that time?" asked Gu Yan with bright eyes.
Yeah.
Tang Xiu nodded. Hearing his reply, Gu Yan looked excited and the feeling still lingered in her after they came to the beach. Dream Butterfly Sword Dance. It was a swordsmanship style Tang Xiu created when boredom struck him back in the immortal world. The foundation of this swordsmanship was created after observing the gracefully dancing butterflies, which possess light and graceful stances and movements. The 2 butterflies merrily rose and descended as though they were dancing partners, but their movement was the resemblance of dance fighting style. After treading along the waves for just half a minute, Tang Xiu and Gu Yan appeared on the sea surface a kilometer away. As both took out their respective immortal sword, their figures blurred. The scene made them look like a celestial couple dancing in the air cheerfully while waving their swords under the baptism of the sun. The Dance of the Golden Butterfly. Gu Yan's graceful figure bent 60 degrees to the back before her sword flickered, and created images of continuous streams of sword tips, while the hovering stream of energy formed a golden light butterfly. As she rose tens of meters above the sea, thousands of golden butterflies fluttered around her as though they were dancing happily. The Longing of the Silver Butterfly. Tang Xiu's figure wildly spun around while maintaining the same height as that of Gu Yan. Along with the flowing of the sword tips movements, a silver light butterfly appeared out of the blue in the sky and gathered with thousands of golden butterflies. At the beach kilometers away from the scene, Ji Qimei and Gu Xiaoxue were standing side by side wearing surprised expressions. They felt that the sword dance performed by Tang Xiu and Gu Yan was truly soul-captivating and thrilling, beautiful and deeply intoxicating. What a beautiful sight to behold. Gu Yan's figure flickered from the distance. When she descended down next to Gu Xiaoxue, she muttered, "Enin also wants to learn this sword dance. It's really beautiful." Gu Xiaoxue turned to her and looked at her smilingly. "Little martial aunt, do you want to learn this sword dance and hope to find a good husband in the future so you can practice it together with him?"
Nah.
Enin doesn't want to find any good prince. Gu Yin shyly replied, Master is always very nice to me. I want to be just like big senior sister and be able to practice such swordplay with Master. After hearing her reply, Gu Xiaoxuet immediately smiled and shifted back her vision to the duo practicing swordplay above the sea with a heart full of envy. She also wanted to learn this sword dance and practice it with her Grand Master, Tang Xiu. But she knew for sure that such a luxury was like a faraway dream that she would never be able to realize. The butterflies died as the swords descended. While riding the immortal sword above the sea surface, Tang Xiu wore a similar expression as Gu Yan as they smiled at each other. Then, Tang Xiu said, Go back and continue healing your injuries. The faster you heal, the stronger the Tang sect will become. I'm looking forward to you being able to instruct the Tang sect's disciples in cultivation after you recover. Yan still retains the power of an immortal master. I can still help Tang sect's disciples progress rapidly even if I have to expend a bit of my immortal spiritual force. Gu Yan smiled. No, Tang Xiu hurriedly said, you must not use your immortal spiritual energy before you've fully healed. This plane is devoid of any immortal spiritual force. Every bit you use will still reduce your power. Besides, we need to return to the immortal world in the future and I still need your protection at that time. Rest assured, Master. I'm aware of it. Gu Yan nodded with a smile. Tang Xiu nodded in response before shifting his vision to the shore and then said, after some time, I'm going to take the Tang family to Nine Dragons Island and train them to be cultivators. I'll leave them on Earth if they choose to stay and take them with us to the immortal world if they choose to do so. Gu Yan thought for a while and then said, all right, then I'll set up a separate area on Nine Dragons Island to house the juniors of the Tang family. But Master, you should also be aware that there's a chance they would make some trouble here if they learn of your identity in the sect, and use your position as sect master, right? Don't worry about that. The number of core members of the Tang family won't exceed 30 people. Tang Xiu said, I'll warn those who do so and throw them into training camps to get the normal drill. They will stay on Nine Dragons Island if they can endure it and will be sent back to China if they fail to do so. There will be no privilege nor special care given to them on Nine Dragons Island. Well, Yan is just sticking her nose and being a busybody, then. Master is master, as always. You've thought it through completely. Gu Yan chuckled. Anyhow, Yan is really happy now since there's no need for me to ponder about things with you around, Master. Before I met you, Yan was always fearful and cautious, like walking on thin ice. Tang Xiu sighed since he knew what kind of efforts and price she had to pay. It was all because of him. Else, it would have been very easy for her to live a comfortable life in the immortal world given her talent and strength. Yan. Tang Xiu hugged her shoulders gently with a self-reproaching expression. Gu Yan took advantage of the opportunity to lean on Tang Xiu's shoulders. She shook her head and smilingly said, Master, Yan will always feel happy no matter how hard or tired Yan has been since everything is for you. As long as you don't abandon Yan in the future, Yan will keep following you everywhere even if you become the enemy of the whole world. Master will never leave you again, Yan, said Tang Xiu. It was a long way to tread on and the responsibility was heavy, something Tang Xiu was aware of along with the increasing heavy pressure on his shoulders. After releasing Gu Yan, he entered the exquisite pagoda with her and stayed there until the next morning and accompanied her for breakfast. I want to go with you. Shuiyu, who had been cultivating in Nine Dragons Island, suddenly spoke. Tang Xiu put down his chopsticks and asked, have you stabilized your cultivation?
Yeah.
It's been stabilized. The power I can unleash is at the early stage of spirit formation now. Yan has taught me a lot recently and I should be able to break through to the late stage of spirit formation in about 6 months, if there's no accident. Tang Xiu thought about it and asked again, do you have anything to tend to back in China? Shuiyu shook her head. There's nothing else apart from checking the business affairs. Shui, you're very strong now, but you lack fighting experience. Tang Xiu said, well, it's your call, of course, but I suggest that you don't go back to China and head to the United States instead. Mo's team has arrived there to carry out a secret mission. You're much stronger than them, so you can help them greatly while also training yourself and reaping more experiences. The United States? Shui gave it a thought and then nodded. No problem. Then I'll go to America. Recently, she learned a lot of things from Gu Yan, many of which were related to Tang Xiu. She finally knew that they would face incomparably fearsome enemies later, so she wanted to help Tang Xiu, provided that he needed it. Chapter 12:10, Huge Undertaking. Shanghai Airport. As the private jet slowly landed and touched the ground, Tang Xiu slowly came out of the cabin with his hands behind his back. Shortly after, tens of Tang sect experts came out from the cabin and landed behind Tang Xiu. Nearby the latter, a row of 10 black Audi sedans were parked with sturdy men in black suits sitting on the driver's seat of each car. With a smile hanging on her face, Kang Xia paced forward. She hugged Tang Xiu and then smilingly said, I heard you bumped into some antic gags in Shanghai several days ago. Tang Xiu stared for a moment and asked with a puzzled face, huh? What antics? Andy told me everything. Something like the house nearly catching fire. Kang Xia chuckled. Tang Xiu's expression instantly turned awkward and he snappily said, you really love hitting people's sore points, don't you? Bah, let's set off. Kang Xia faintly smiled in response and waved to the Tang sect experts to board the cars. As they quickly left, 3 other black Audis stopped quickly beside another private plane. Along with the horn sound from the car, boys and girls of age 18 plus dressed like scions of the super rich came down the plane and quickly boarded the 3 cars and left. Genesis Auction House. After Tang Xiu and Kang Xia arrived, the tens of Tang sect experts dispersed and began to check the security deployment of the auction house. Security was of the top priority considering the place would soon turn into a money circulation vortex. Therefore, they received a death order from Tang Xiu that they must make the auction house an impregnable bastion where nobody could sneak in. Further, the area within a 2 kilometers radius from the auction house must be strictly guarded against any contingency, and any suspicious person approaching the site must be investigated at once, and anyone who seemed to have bad intentions must be arrested immediately. They were also permitted to neutralize such people should they resist. However, in just 2 hours after Tang Xiu's arrival at the Genesis auction house, tens of ability users from the Special Abilities Bureau appeared in the perimeter of the auction house about 2 to 5 kilometers away to form a safe zone in the surrounding with the assistance from the undercover police force. The 4th floor of the building had a total of 4 halls aside from the central hall, each of which was very spacious and housed a lot of valuables. In the past month, Genesis Auction House had accepted the commission of a large number of guests around the world, and was entrusted by over 200 assignor in just a month to auction their collection. These articles had been appraised by appraisers from 4 countries, as well as 8 foreign appraisers all over the world, each of whom held respectable reputation, whereas the other 4 were Chinese treasure appraisers who were also well-known experts and professors in China. This 12-people team conducted the appraisal to identify these over 200 articles and confirmed that the value of each item was over 1 million yuan. In other words, 1 million yuan was the lowest value of each article. Hao Lei, put these pills on the shelf yourself. 10 youthful pills, 10 longevity pills, 10 antitoxin pills, 10 bottles of body-tempering liquid, and 20 essence amassing pill. Each of these items is set for a base price of 100 million US dollars. Hao Lei was quite shocked. She didn't expect that Tang Xiu would sell so many cultivation resources at the auction. Isn't it a bit too much, boss? Kang Xia slowly asked with a surprised expression. No. This is just a part as there will be a set of packages for these articles next. Tang Xiu shook his head. The package will consist of 1 youthful pill, 1 longevity pill, 1 antitoxin pill, 1 bottle of body-tempering liquid, and 1 essence amassing pill with the floor price of $600 million for 1 package. Hao Lei memorized everything Tang Xiu just said and put all the jade bottles containing the pills on the shelf. Shortly after, Tang Xiu also took 2 sets of array discs from the interspatial ring and handed it to Hao Lei. The floor price of each of these 2 sets of array discs is $1 billion, and both sets have dual effects, mainly defensive and entrapment. Those at the golden core stage can only dream of breaking out from this array once they're trapped in it. They can only hope to break this array if they can break through to the nascent soul stage. Hao Lei wore a bit of strange expression and said, "But Sect Master, what if the people who bought these 2 sets of array discs become our enemies in the future? Will they pose a threat to us? I know what you intend to do in the future, which includes rooting out those foreign enemy forces." Tang Xiu lightly smiled and said, "I'll teach the methods of cracking these 2 sets of array discs to all disciples after selling them. They won't pose any threat to us even if we encounter them in the future. The enemy who dares to use these array discs to deal with us will be hoisted by their own petards." "You're really wise, Sect Master," Hao Lei praised with eyes lit up. With a slight smile, Tang Xiu took out 100 talismans and said, "Divide these talismans into 5 packages, 20 pieces each, and its floor price is $200 million. Understood." Hao Lei received them. Then, Tang Xiu took out 2 magic swords, 2 magic lances, 2 magic axes, 2 magic sabers and continued, "The base price of each of these magic weapons is $500 million, and each is to be auctioned separately." Hao Lei took them, put them away and then asked, "Is there anything else?" Finally, Tang Xiu took out a set of jewelry and smilingly said, "I also manufactured this set of jewelry myself. Its only function is for defense. The wearer of this jewelry can withstand the full blow of a nascent soul stage expert. However, the effect will only last thrice and it will be useless after 3 uses. Therefore, owning this jewelry is equivalent to having 3 lives more, and the floor price for this one is $1 billion. Hao Lei glanced at the dazzling jewelry and couldn't help but gulp. She liked the design of the jewelry as well as its effect. After hesitating for a moment, she asked, "Boss, is there any such jewelry for sale in our sect?" "I also want a set." Tang Xiu grinningly replied, "Well, you can expect that all core disciples of the Tang sect can obtain a set of this jewelry type or some other types of defensive weapons in 2 years. Hao Lei was excited upon hearing this and heavily nodded. "By the way, we still have a couple of days from the auction time, Sect Master, and 685 guests have already confirmed attendance. But the number will likely double if we publish these treasures." "Don't announce the specific number, just the type and their effects," said Tang Xiu without hesitation. "Also, announce to the public that those who don't confirm their attendance to the Genesis auction house within 3 days will lose their eligibility to attend the auction." "Understood," Hao Lei respectfully replied. It was dusk when Tang Xiu and Kong Xia had dinner together and Mu Weining came in a hurry and brought him a message that a man named Hu Xiaokuan was looking for him and looked very anxious. Hearing Hu Xiaokuan's name made Tang Xiu recall another issue when he was on Jingmen Island and received a call from Li Kai. He had originally scheduled to meet her in Star City, but Li Kai failed to come at the appointed time and never came to Star City. "Where's he?" asked Tang Xiu. Mu Weining glanced at Kong Xia first before replying, "He's at Lulu's Paradise Manor. We had called you before, but you turned off your cell phone, so I could only come here." Tang Xiu nodded in response and asked, "Have you had dinner yet?" "I was about to have dinner, but then Hu Xiaokuan said that it was urgent and he had to hurry to find you." Mu Weining shook her head and said, "I didn't know you were here, so I contacted Hao Lei and learned that you were here. I have also notified Hu Xiaokuan that you're here." Tang Xiu turned to Hao Lei and said, "Issue an order that if a young man named Hu Xiaokuan comes over, directly bring him to me." "Understood." Hao Lei nodded and left. Tang Xiu pulled a chair for Mu Weining and asked if she wanted to have a meal. Then, he said, you already know Kong Xia, so I'll skip the introduction. The two of you have a bite first. I'm going downstairs to have a look. Mu Weining hesitated, but eventually took a seat and said, shall we have some wine, Kong Xia? Fine with me. Kong Xia chuckled. Half an hour later. Tang Xiu was smoking at the gate of the Genesis auction house when he saw Hu Shaokuan ran towards him with the guidance of an expert from the Tang sect. His face was full of sweat with eyes full of restlessness. Tang Xiu, please save Li Kai. After running and stopping in front of Tang Xiu, Hu Shaokuan couldn't help but pant and hurriedly cried out. Tang Xiu's expression changed and asked, what happened to her? I have no idea about the details, but Li Kai suddenly got a fever and fell into a coma when she was supposed to go to Star City to meet you over a month ago. Hu Shaokuan explained. She stopped me when I was going to find you. She said that she has troubled you too much and didn't allow me to contact you. But I can't just do nothing since she has been in a coma for 3 days straight and her body temperature has exceeded 45 degrees. A normal person would have died already. Tang Xiu took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, she's still staying at the Blue Starfish Mansion, right? Take me there. Hu Shaokuan turned around and walked with Tang Xiu for 2 kilometers to his car. After starting his car, he glanced at Tang Xiu in the back seat and said, do you know what happened to her, Tang Xiu? Also, Auntie Zhang is now awake and she's kinda in high spirits and just a bit weak. It's estimated that she will recover as before in about 10 to 15 days, as long as she rests well. Tang Xiu zoned out for a moment before he immediately shook his head and sighed. Maybe I know the reason. What's the cause? Asked Hu Shaokuan with a puzzled look. Are there any scars on Li Kai's wrist? Asked Tang Xiu, like one that's usually seen on broken-hearted women who commit suicide by cutting their wrists? That's right. I was shocked and asked what happened to her when I saw that her wrist was injured. Hu Shaokuan blurted out without hesitation. She said she accidentally cut her wrist.